All right. Just double checking here. Make this big. Make sure you can hear me. Oh, I just heard me giggle, so. All right. Perfect. We still have a few minutes before we start. This is a little surprise. Every Wednesday and Friday, whether there's a mobility session or not, there's still the opportunity to do cars with me twice a week. So once August hits, I'm playing with the idea of inviting maybe 3, 4, maybe less, haven't decided yet, people into the studio, and we're going to be recording me live in the studio as we're doing our cars and our mobility session, our moving well session. That was set up before in June and July, but I think it just was too soon. So, you know, you got to be flexible. We got to figure stuff out. We're going to be doing controlled articular rotations today. I did get a special request, and I don't know if the person, it doesn't matter if they're watching live because it's, you know, going to be recorded, and also it's on this page for as long as the page exists, for a chair, to do it in the chair. So I am obliging, and we are going to do seated cars and then do some seated shoulder work. Not only was it a recommendation, like a request, but I also find that if we're sitting doing work, if we're teleworking, if we own our own business and we know that we're going to have admin days and we're going to be sitting in a chair, sitting on a couch, these are things that you can do while you're seated, while you're still paying attention to whatever the task is that you're doing. These are things that you can do. You can take care of your cars while you're working. If you start to feel like you've been sitting for too long, I do recommend not just sitting in a static spine, you know, like a neutral spine like this. I would probably maybe set a timer and do some twists. You can also slouch forward. You can slouch to the side. Slouch isn't a bad word. Slouch is comfy. So you could slouch over here. Just a moving spine is a healthy spine. A static spine, if you're not moving it, you're just not moving it. So how is that going to help you, you know, pick up boxes? When you're cooking, you're twisting, you're doing all these things in your day-to-day life. You want to complement that with your joint work. All right, I'm going on a tangent here, and it's 9 o'clock. And I'm going to take a couple more sips of my coffee. This morning is a definite coffee day. It's raining outside. I didn't really want to get up, you know, happens to everybody. So I hope for some of you that did the July session are going to do the August session too. Oh, that coffee's good. Num, num, num. It's Dublin Roasters coffee. Okay. So we're going to use a chair. If you've done this already and you have a preferred way, your body is wanting to stand up, your body's wanting to lay down, whatever your body is telling you to do. And I'm also going to give you options for the strength work at the end. You don't have to be seated for the strength work either, but this is a wonderful option. And the strength work that we're going to do at the end is a wonderful tension reliever. So I'm gonna bring my coffee closer to me. There we go. All right. So to begin, I'm going to come up a little bit on my chair. I'm not going to be fully in my chair because I find if I'm a little bit out, I can engage my legs a little bit better. And when we're seated, when it comes to irradiation, it's not as much work to irradiate because you're already locking in your hips. The only thing that could happen is you could start to rock and lift your hip off the chair, right? So if we're not doing hip work, we want to keep the hips on the chair. So let's bring our arms out to the side. Oh, let me get my thing. I always forget to do it. I have this watch and it helps me help you. So, but it's never really, it's never really accurate, but that's okay. Keeps me accountable, right? Arms at your side. Let's make fists with our hands. Let the contraction come up your forearms, into your biceps, into your shoulders. You may find your shoulders pull a little bit away from your ear. Feel the three corners of your feet, your heel and your big toe, and then your pinky toe side into the ground. And almost push down a little bit. So bring some of that weight forward. And let's pack the air down. Our lower ribs are going to come towards our front hip points on the exhale. Perfect. Now we feel super stable. We're going to start at our necks and work our way down. Bring your chin to your chest. Scrape it along the right collarbone. Look over the right shoulder. Tilt the ear behind the right shoulder, rainbow up and over into the tilt, the twist, and then back down the collarbone and go to the left. So we do a tick-tock, and the tick-tock is nice because you can set a timer if you want to, and you know that you've done pretty much an equal amount on each side. You can do one direction for a minute, the other direction for a minute, however you choose. So you could do this at a chair. I mean, you probably won't be able to look at a computer while you're doing this, but maybe this is your little break time. Now just check in with your body and the contractions that you have put in place. Have they let go? It's fine if they have. The one part of our body that I notice the most on people and myself that moves during this, your shoulders. So maybe push. Really drive the fist towards the floor. 3, 2, and 1. The thoracic spine in a seated position is very interesting. So take the first couple nice and slow until you can feel your body's response. Okay. So again, we're going to make our bottom half solid. Our hips are on the chair. We're going to bring our arms in front and hug ourselves. Okay. And I'm going to show you this from the side. Okay. And I'm going to pack the air down. So I'm going to exhale. My lower ribs are going to stay soft, but they're going to come towards my front hip points. And I'm going to crunch myself down. This isn't coming from the hip, if you see. Keeping everything solid. And now I'm going to twist like a cap to the right. You might find that you have less usable, workable space here when you're seated. Now tilt and then extend back and then come into a tilt and a twist. So it's the same motion as our neck. And go to the left. So we're tick-tocking, tilt, and extend back. Now here you do want to try to contract the glutes still, because what can tend to happen is if your hips are locked in place, any compensation or recruitment that your lower back was doing here is going to be locked in. So you might feel extra strain on your lower back. So make that circle smaller. right? You're still getting benefits. Make that circle smaller. Or see what happens when you contract your glutes. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna do our shoulders now. So bring our right arm out. Our left arm is gonna come to the side, or you can actually grab onto your left leg. There's so many different options, especially in a chair. You can even grab the under part of the chair if that's accessible to you to really create more, not necessarily tension, more lock-in of the left side. Right arm comes out in external rotation. The bicep is spinning out. So we're always leading with the shoulder, and the bicep is a great cue because that's closer to your shoulder. Before I was saying bring your thumb out. So I was almost having you, cueing you to use more of your wrist. So you're going to notice that more and more as the cueing kind of gets a little better. I mean, just to be honest, I found that it's just a lot better when you focus on the bicep. Now, cross over the midline. Bicep still facing up. Elbow pit is up. Cross it over the midline and your biceps coming up towards your cheek, may even scrape along your cheek. You're coming up into flexion. You're going to hit a little roadblock here. The second you hit that roadblock, it cues you to spin the bicep in and extend back. Keep extending back as you keep spinning the bicep down and in, down and in. Nice. Bring it to your side. Kick it back. The bicep is still down and in the most internal rotation point that you could find. Now we're going to spin it out to the right. Spin the bicep out to the right. Keep wringing it out. The bicep's trying to go behind your head, and your arm is coming up towards your ear. Now bring it down and relax. One more. Cross over the midline, bicep up towards your face. Hit that little first roadblock inflection. Spin the bicep in and out. So your bicep's going in towards your armpit. Kick it back. Spin that bicep away from your armpit. And bring it up and over. Awesome. Let's do the other side. I'm gonna keep that. That felt really good. Bringing my hand underneath the chair to lock in that side. I also felt a little extra pull on the back of that the back of the shoulder that I was working. So all of this information, just want you to be aware of it, right? So there's an intention in the movement that we're doing. And then there's an attention that you can give that movement so that you can notice all of these things. Externally rotate. Bicep, elbow pit is facing forward. And if your elbow pit's not facing forward and you're really externally rotating, just know that that's a guide. So your elbow pit and your bicep is going towards the front of the room, as whatever that means for you. You could be right here. But as long as you're in external rotation, cross it over the midline, up toward your face into flexion, keeping that external rotation. Now spin the bicep away from the armpit and extend it back. Keep wringing out. Keep moving that bicep. Keep wringing it out. Kick it back. Externally rotate, bring it up towards the ear and down. And we're going to move right into the second one. Beautiful. Kick it back. Externally rotate and relax down. Wonderful. Wonderful, beautiful, awesome. All of those words. You made a great decision today to do this for your joints. Palms are facing me. Elbow pits and biceps are going towards the front of the room because we are pinning our biceps and our shoulders. Our biceps and our shoulders aren't going to move here. It's just going to be from our elbow. Okay. So now the external rotation happens when you start from that top of the forearm. You're going to spin the forearm out. and your wrist might follow, right? So the hand cue is I'm looking at my palms and my thumbs are trying to point down. They're trying to go this way, right? Trying to fold out. That's a little more external rotation. And then internal, turn your palms facing the ground, and internal is spinning the top of the bicep in toward your leg. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through here. So our arms are straight, irradiate through the body where you feel will give you the most concentration on your elbows. I always find if I bring my shoulder blades in and down, pack the air down so my lower ribs are coming towards my front hip points, and bring the palms up towards the shoulder. Turn them away. Try to squeeze out a little more, right, of that internal and external rotation with each time you rotate and even as you're coming up. Sometimes I feel an aching in my elbow joint, almost like, what are you doing? You don't normally do this. Wonderful. Here we go. We're going to pause on the up. Okay. So your palms are facing your shoulders. And now we're just going to push the top of the hands towards the floor. So we're changing the orientation of the bone in the joint in flexion and extension. So this is flexion. This is extension. It's almost like stirring in the other direction. You know, if you stir a pot in the same direction and then you switch directions, you're going to get more. And 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Forearms are facing up and the wrists are facing up as well. Pretend like you have, you know, a coffee or a very lovely beverage on your wrist and you don't want to spill it. And bringing your wrists into extension. So we're making fists, so our fingers are going towards the ground. Now pinky sides come in. Bring the wrist up into flexion and pause here. Feel if there's any line of tension along your forearm, right? Ever since I've been doing this pause, I actually have less stretch in my forearm, which I definitely feel in my fingers. Let's go thumb side over. Let's do 2 more in this direction, and then we're going to move and switch the direction. Okay, when you're ready, switch directions. And relax. Okay, let's take care of our shoulder blades. See if I can do this. Ready? This can be entertaining. Ooh, I did it. All right. So I'm sitting this way just so I can show you from the back. You don't have to sit this way. This is actually a little too much on my inner legs, but I'm going to go with it. I'm actually going to use the chair and pull my legs in, right? So this is just another way of irradiating and using more of your body. I'm bringing my arms out straight in front of me, and they're only going to move forward and back while my shoulder blades move, almost like you're running them along a bookshelf. You can also have them down to your sides, and you want the same idea here. You only want your hands, I'm yelling and I have a microphone, I'm sorry. You only want to have your hands moving up and down, right? Not this way. That's going to help concentrate in the shoulder blades. So bring your arms up. Now squeeze your shoulder blades together and then keep them squeezed and push them down. Now, push through your hands, go forward. The shoulder blades separate, right? Moving away from your spine. Now bring the shoulder blades up towards the back of your head. Now squeeze them behind you, squeeze down, bring them forward, up and back. Keep moving like that. Watch your neck, pack that air down, and really have this motion, try to have this motion really initiated from your back and not necessarily your shoulders. Switch directions. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Let's see if I can do the other way. Woo. See, I'm surprising myself. So that is the upper body. So we're done with our upper body. Upper body is super easy to do seated. When you get into the hip car, this is where it really depends on your body and how you're feeling today, and also just your structure in general. What I tend to do, and what has worked the most, is to come to the end of the chair where we're going to start at our right leg, where your right bum cheek is almost completely off the chair. And you can see I'm already leaning, right? So I'm going to lean back. I'm going to lean back and I'm going to use the chair. I'm going to hold on to the chair to try to irradiate through my torso. I'm going to pack the air down. We go. My left foot is going to be into the ground as much as I can. And we're going to internally rotate our right leg. So our thigh is going to spin in and down. And we're going to lift it off the ground and bring it up. And then the thigh is going to spin out into external rotation. Bring it out to the side. So see, I'm still in external rotation. My foot is in front of my knee. Now I'm going to try to keep my knee in the same spot. If it drops, it drops. I'm going to spin my thigh down as much as I can safely and back and in. Now kick it back. Peel the knee away in external rotation. Foot's going to lead here and slowly bring it forward and down. All right, one more. Internally rotate, bring it up. Externally rotate out. Internally rotate back. Kick it back. Externally rotate and bring it forward. Now we'll do the other side. So my left leg is free from the chair and I'm going to lean back. Find a spot to really settle in. And we're going to internally rotate, bring that knee up, externally rotate, abduct out to the side. Now internally rotate and back and together. Kick it back. The heel can come towards the bum. You might feel your hamstring fire. Peel the knee away. Externally rotate, forward and down. Internally rotate up. Externally rotate out. Internally rotate back. Kick it back. Externally rotate. Have that foot lead and bring it forward. Something to keep in mind here too is that when you're standing, you tend to have the most range of motion that you would have. Laying down, I would say, is probably second. Tabletop, which this is close to tabletop because the rest of your body is still, is one of the hardest. You might find that you have less internal rotation, that your circle is pretty small, but we're working that joint in all these different positions. We're not just doing it in one. So I do recommend changing it up and making sure that you're working your joint in all of these different positions. The goal is, there's no prize. You're not going to get a prize for a bigger circle, but you might feel good about it when your circle gets bigger. But then it is really nice and humbling when you go down into tabletop and you're like, oh, my body in this position has less range of motion. And you can just acknowledge it and leave it at that, right? But then if you keep working in that position, you might create more space. So now we're going to do our tibia. I'm going to scoot back so you can see. All right, so our tibia in a seated position, you can put your heel into the floor, keep your knee still, and try to bring your toes up towards your knees. So you are dorsiflexing your foot. Hold on to the knee, and try to tick-tock back and forth. Maybe feel right below the knee to feel the tibia moving and rotating. This is a very important rotation. In the beginning, I was like, all right, I trust all of you in the FRC community. I totally trust you 100%. I'm going to keep doing this in my CARS routine and maybe something will happen. And it did. I'm able to jog comfortably, pain-free around the block. I'm really happy about that. I could just move better down here. So the CAR for the tibia, I usually like to grab behind my knee and lift my leg up a little bit. You can keep yourself down here and just lift the foot a little bit off the ground. That's fine. But the tendency is to lift up and extend out. So just try to keep the knee as still as possible. Let's rotate the tibia out to the right, extend forward, in and back, out, forward, in and back. Similar to our elbow CAR, right? So then what we want to do, just like our elbow CAR, is change the orientation of the bone in the joint in flexion and extension. So we're going to stir the pot in a different direction. So let's pause on the back and in, and then kick it forward, out, and back. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring the legs straight out and start to do some ankle circles. Keep trying to keep your toes as relaxed as possible. Maybe lock out the leg. Do about 3 to 5 in one direction and then the other. All right, let's switch to the left side. So you can hold on to your knee in the front. I'm just giving you all different options, to make it more difficult to remember, right? Like, thanks. So, all right, let's rotate our tibia out, extend forward, in and back, out, forward, in and back. And let's pause on the in and back and kick forward, out, back, in, forward, out, back, in. There we go. 3, 2, and 1. Bring that leg out. Let's take care of our ankle. Mine still, I just have to really make an effort to make my ankle circles smaller because my ankle is still a little sore. So my knee keeps popping up so that I can get more out of the ankle CAR. So I have to really try to keep the knees still, or I just make the circle smaller, right? So it's interesting. You just want to honor, like, if you have an issue or you have a challenging area, just noticing these things. And I'm not judging myself. I am, of course, I hope this compensation goes away, but I'm going to work with it until it doesn't. So we can do our toes here. I'm going to sip my coffee while I do my toes. This is probably the most discreet one you could do at work, right? You just slip off your shoes but if you're at your house, if you're teleworking, I mean, hey, no one's watching. And even if they were, who cares? So all your toes up and start to tap your big toe. Multitasking. Sorry if you can hear me drink my coffee, but all up, 8 toes tap down. And bring them down and just lift the big toe. Lift it a little higher. And bring it down, lift the 8 toes. Try to maintain any arch that you have in your foot and not roll it in. And down, let's bring it all up and do 3 to 5 piano keys. Pinky, second, third, fourth, and big toe all up. And keep going at your own pace here. Don't forget to spread them wide. And do this in most, like if you do another yoga class or like an active yoga class, or even if you take the Flow Well yoga with me that just started this week, always try to spread your toes. Let's relax. Always try to spread your toes before you place them down when you're in mountain pose and Tadasana. Or if you're standing and doing like bicep curls, I try to do it in my bar class. So my bar class is like 45 minutes long. And now that my back and my ankles are okay, I'm taking it easy, but that's really important. You want to be able to feel your big toe and your toes in the ground. And also it'll help with balance, which is amazing. So now that we are done with the car portion, we're going to work on our shoulders a little bit. So for our shoulders, we're going to stay in the chair. You can be standing doing this or seated on the floor. You can also be laying down, but let's stick to chair, seated, or standing. I'm going to bring my arms out to the side. Same spot where I normally irradiate through my arms. And you can see my arms don't go straight out to my side, right? If they did, I probably would do that. It's more comfortable for me. I do have more flesh up in my upper body area, my arms. So I'm not able to bring my arms straight down to my side without A, being uncomfortable, and B, my elbows usually end up bending, right? It's just my body. This is okay. It's the target, right? There's no bigger benefit of me having my arms down straight than out at the side. So we are going to internally and externally rotate our shoulders in 3 different positions. We're going to go here, we're going to go up here, and then we're going to extend our arms back. And that's when I'm going to start to shift so that you can better see the shoulder positions. So again, we're going to lead with our biceps, right? So our biceps are going to spin in towards our armpits. If your elbows and your wrists go along for the ride, fine, but just make sure that you're focusing on the shoulder. Feel all those little spots. Feel the tension that ends up wherever it ends up. I have a little bit in my elbow. I have a little bit in my shoulder. And now slowly start to turn into external rotation. Make as much room as you need to. So my arms are going to go out a little bit wider because my arms are getting caught on my sides and I'm not able to externally rotate. So I'm going to bring my arms up. Biceps are trying to spin towards the back of the room. I'm keeping my hands soft here, actually. My wrists and my hands. Now bring them internally rotated. Now external. Each time, try to squeeze out a little bit more. Now let's bring them up to about a 45-degree angle or 60-degree angle, whichever this is. Just bring them so your elbows are at least over your shoulders. And let's spin the biceps down, leading by our shoulders and our biceps in internal rotation. Try to keep the shoulders away from the ears. They might creep up. And externally rotate. In terms of alignment here, my hand is in line with my shoulder. So you can try to keep it in the same spot. But you can also try to play and bring your arms back a little bit. I mean, just play around here and really explore. Keep internally and externally rotating. And now sweep the arms down and we're going to extend our arms back. I'm going to extend our arms back. Okay, shoulder blades in and down. Just lock that in. Keep your ribs soft. And begin internally rotating, externally rotating. Try to keep your upper back and your shoulder blades as still as possible. Bring a little more lift Even if your arms go out a little wider, that's fine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now just relax. Take a few nice sips of air. Bring your arms straight out to the side. Your palms are going to face forward. Bring your arms up to that same angle that we were before. Hinge or bend at your elbows. Try to keep your neck relaxed and bring your hands behind your head. Moderately lock in your lower body with the chair or the floor. If you're standing, definitely irradiate your lower body. Elbows come back. Hands and forearms lift away from the head. Straighten the elbows. It almost feels like you're going through air that's like 30% thicker. Drop. It's almost like you're sliding your hands down a wall. Internally rotate. So the palms are going to be facing forward. Squeeze out that internal rotation. And bend at the elbows. Let the hands rest on your back. For those that sit at a computer, this is really, really awesome to do. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to lift away. We're going to lift off our lower back. So let's bring those elbows back. Lift off the back. Your hands are coming up off the back and your forearms. Hinge. Opening up the arms, straightening the arms. Bring them up along the wall. Turn the palms forward. Hinge at the elbows. Lift off the back of the head. Straighten the arms. Slide them down the wall. Internally rotate. Bring them back. Push the wall behind you and hinge at the elbows again. Let's not rest here. Just lift right off. Straighten the arms. Up the wall. Externally rotate. Hands behind the head. One more time. Lift off. Do this at your own pace here. And I said one more, that means we do two. We'll bring them out. And now internally rotate here in the up position. Now slide down the wall. And now bring them behind your back. Now relax behind your back. Stay here. Relax your shoulders. Maybe bring your head back and forth in a no. Shake your head yes. Release your arms, bring them up overhead one more time. Stay here for a nice 5 full breaths. Breathing in and out of your belly if you can. Now slowly start to lower your arms down to the sides. Maybe rest your hands on your knees. Take as much time as you need here. Sometimes working your shoulder and the heart and lung meridian can bring some feelings, some relief, some emotions up. So take your time here. We are done. Just let that all sink in. Show yourself some gratitude for choosing to do this today. We just did a self-care happy hour last night, and just notice the stuff that you do in your day-to-day that already is self-care and celebrate that. And then most of the time you start to seek out more and more, right? It could be so little. It could cost nothing. It could cost a lot. It could take up time. It could take up not a lot of time. It's just those things that just bring you joy. And doing something for yourself, or if it feels really good to do stuff for others and that's your form of self-care, like me, this is a form of self-care for me. It's just sharing what I know and connecting with the community, so it can be for other people. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and Monday starts our August session. I'm super excited about it, so you'll probably see lots of posts over the weekend about it, so share it with your friends if you've enjoyed it and you recommend it. So take care.